questions I get a lot is like, well, what martial art should I train? The answer that I usually say to them is find a good environment in which you can learn something, learning about your body and learning what I call proprioception, where your hands and feet are in space, is the benefit that you'll get from training anything, lifting weights, running, but things that really involve your body, especially with a partner, are going to help you learn more about your body, which is going to help you in a self-defense situation no matter what. With that being said, though, the mindset to that training is what we're going to get to. Okay. So, physically, in my opinion, just speaking, we have to take a look at, okay, well, what are the benefits of each martial art? And for me, I need a tick of each box, right? I need to have those 5 things covered if you're going to call it self-defense. So, for example, Muay Thai, right? Muay Thai is fantastic. We have a trapping range or a clinch range, right? We're typically looking at elbows. Yes, there's some grappling in there, but I'm going to say it's minuscule enough without high levels of training that you're not going to be phenomenal at takedowns, but you're going to have an idea. And is the style of takedown or sweep that you're doing going to be safe for self-defense? So let's just pull that one out of there. Weapons, there's no weapons, right? So they got 3 good ranges. So 3 out of 5 isn't bad. Muay Thai is a nice solid base. For me, though, kicking does not take priority in my self-defense training, right? So the amount of time and effort that they put into kicking, great for the body, great for your core, great for your hips, great for your knees, et cetera, all these good things. So it's kind of down to 2 now. So yes, I agree, it's great. But if it's just those 2, well, now what about boxing? Boxing is going to be in that striking world for sure. There's almost no trapping there until you're like a high level boxer where you learn concepts of trapping, right? So we're really just looking at boxing is really just one, but some of the best strikers in the world by far. If you have boxing training, your hands are going to be dangerous for sure. Taekwondo, karate, kicking, huge kicking focus. Yes, they punch. Yes, they block. Does it work super effectively? That's going to depend on how you're doing those things, right?
We need to be careful about what are not. I don't mean you need to be careful about what you're saying. I'm saying
Yeah.
when we get into some of these disciplines, some of the things to also look at.
Yeah.
Then I want to throw out another martial art that I think
Please.
is,
Yeah.
but is what's your how are you standing?
Mm.
What's your base? What's your base like?
Yeah.
Is the base is the how you're standing optimal? Is it the fewest number of solutions to as many problems as possible?
Yeah.
Does it work great if you're sparring,
Yeah.
but if you're attacked, is it maybe not so effective? How
Right.
vulnerable does it leave you?
Yeah. And
And the
that's
other
where I'm
thing,
like, a high
and
back
the
stance in karate isn't going to be the best place for you, right? So,
Yeah, and then especially if you come up, if there's somebody who has any wrestling at all, if they have a junior high wrestling, you're in big trouble. Even
yeah.
if they are, even if they don't, they
Yeah.
go hands on, you're in big trouble.
Yeah.
They put hands on you, and then I was having a conversation with Coach Nelson several years ago
Yeah.
when I we first started learning directly under him, and he said, "You know that you practice Jeet Kune Do." And I said, I don't know any Jeet Kune Do. I've never done 1 second of Jeet Kune Do. He's like, no, Jeet Kune Do is a philosophy.
Yeah. Nice.
And there's so many things about it. Like, and one of the core ethos of the philosophy is no way as a way, being fluid and adaptable. And as I talked about at our conference over the weekend, I'm like, absorb what is useful for
Yeah.
you individually.
Yeah.
Reject what is useless for you,
Yeah.
right? And then to make the rest of it what is uniquely your own. Self-defense is very personal for
Very,
a
very.
reason because you have your own unique set of attributes, you have your own unique set of circumstances,
Yeah.
and you have your own unique set of variables that you'll be facing within a violent situation because no 2 encounters are ever the same. The
Yeah.
variables are unpredictable and unrepeatable.
Yeah.
So that's why we say that we suggest having this adaptable style of dealing and coping and having the fight IQ to solve whatever problem is put before you.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and I think that's so important. I was just about to get to Jeet Kune Do, but I really want to touch on that. But first, okay, judo, BJJ guys, wrestlers, all fantastic, all really good. Do they have striking? Right.
Right.
That's a tough one, right? Because someone will say, "Well, we hit mitts, we hit pads, we know how to throw a punch," right? So maybe you do, maybe you don't. But again, it's really only that 2 of 5, right? Um, it doesn't mean that it's wrong, and it doesn't mean the systems that you're training in is wrong. It just means that, like what Todd just said, is can you conceptualize what it is that you're doing, right? So when I started really thinking about self-defense and started thinking about encompassing all of this together, I'm a huge Bruce Lee fan. I've loved Bruce Lee's concepts and theories for years. And then I started looking around for Jeet Kune Do because Jeet Kune Do is the first MMA, right? So I'm looking around at Jeet Kune Do places, and they're like, yes, well, we have a Filipino martial arts class where we do lots of stick and knife stuff because Dan and Santo, right? And his lineage with Bruce Lee. You have boxing and kickboxing, right? And Muay Thai kind of all incorporated into that, which was great. You have a little bit of grappling. I don't see too much grappling. I think it really depends on the Jeet Kune Do instructor if they had a grappling background before. But when Bruce Lee died, nobody knows if this is where Jeet Kune Do would have gone, right? So Jeet Kune Do kind of, I don't label it as a martial art, exactly like Todd said. I label it as a concept because I believe that's what Bruce Lee's gift was to us. It was his conceptual understanding of martial arts and combat that was beautiful, right? Like that's it. It hugely, hugely influenced me as a kid and as a teenager and in my early 20s with my training of, okay, I need to strip away the unessential and train the essential. I did that because self defense and combat became a priority for me. It was something that I wanted to make sure that I could actually defend myself and not spar, not anything like that, like you've heard in our other podcasts. It's more so, okay, everywhere I went where it was this kicking and punching world, everywhere I went, at the end of the day, basically just said you can only move your body certain ways. In my opinion, it's a front snap kick, which is quadricep extension, right? Which is rotational energy, which becomes your roundhouse kick. And remember, I've kicked for 35 years. That's the thing I've done the most. I can do jump spinning kicks. I can kick 8.5 feet in the air. Well, I used to. Now it's like 6.5, right? And there's all these different things when it comes to the martial arts side of it. But what I realized was a lot of them were just saying, hey, we know where our hands and feet are in space. We can kick paddles. We can do this. When you start applying it, nobody really had a good answer, in my opinion. Right?
A lot of it is there for the sake of being there.
Yes.
That's what my big issue is with a lot of it. And I hope that some of you who are listening can identify with this, or you'll take what I'm saying seriously. It's there to pad the curriculum,
Yep. Yep.
right? It's there to extract as much time and energy and money out of you as possible to get you working toward what the next achievement is. What's the next achievement that you're going to unlock?
Yes. Your next belt test so that we can make
And
$80 from
and
you.
And the other thing that I have to say is that it tends to be very decontextualized. It's more of a dance class,
Yes.
right? There's no context there.
Yeah.
And just to add a little bit of context, when you're looking for self-defense, there are very few people who actually think this way or apply it this way. I'm not saying this to self-aggrandize. I'm just the truth. It's an observation. It's not necessarily a criticism.
Yeah.
I know how unpopular the truth is, but I'm a freak when it comes to the data and the statistics around violent crimes.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so the question is, are the disciplines that you're working consistent with how violence actually works, and what the probability is for the types of interactions that you're going to be in? And the overwhelming majority of violent crimes, whether it be a simple assault or an aggravated assault, is going to involve some kind of a scramble in the clinch in extreme close quarters. And so they're going to ambush you without you thinking about it, whether that be with kicks or punches or elbows or whatever, or a weapon,
Yep.
like a blunt force weapon or an edged weapon, or whether that be that, which is the most common, is when people are in a scramble and they're just clenching and they're head fighting and they're grabbing for clothes. That's what's most common.